Hello, friends. This is the Connected Approach podcast, the world's number one podcast for connected leaders. I'm Chris Curtin.
And I'm Amanda White. Welcome today to your warm embrace. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Amanda.
I'm excited to talk today. We've had some oh, big wins, some accomplishments, and I think we're just going to take the time to share some of that because it's really important to do so. We get rushing in our busy day and doing all the things that we need to be doing, and then all of a sudden it kind of like comes to a point, or at least it did for me this week, where I'm like, wow, like we are just coming off of a really great leadership program that we've been running in partnership with a company. And we've had some great one-on-one coachings that we're getting some great feedback and seeing some huge growth from the individuals in. And then we also have some things that are changing for us just on the family side too. So how's that sound?
That sounds great. I think you had mentioned as we were just prepping briefly for today's conversation about the changing of seasons. And
Yeah.
finally, we're seeing that change of season, in the seasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's nice to experience that and, to your point, to reflect.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially for me, I'm kind of like looking outside here because I live in Northern Illinois, and we have, we're surrounded by farmland, and we live on the back of the family farm that I grew up on. And, everybody is out and they're, you know, just changing over the soil, and they're cultivating everything and digging everything up and planting everything. And it just is a time for me. I think that's what puts me in this reflective time, is to just be like, it is the change of seasons, and it signifies, like you said, cultivation and growth. And that's probably what had it like top of mind for me today. And I think just starting with this program that we just wrapped up, you actually posted, some of the learnings that posted on LinkedIn, some of the learnings that individuals got from it, and what leaders can expect to get from it. But you want to share a little bit more on what we're so proud of as far as coming off of that graduation or completion of that program.
Sure. And it's so interesting for you to share about your life and the experience. And you've, I think, described before how much a part of your life the farm is. And it's
Yeah.
not um, something that I understand well, having grown up in sort of in the suburbia of upstate New York.
Yeah.
Although there were farms around, but I mean, I don't think I've ever known a farm kid. I didn't know a farm kid when I was growing up. And you've talked before about what it's meant to you in terms of your
Yeah.
work ethic, in terms of your really lifestyle. We've talked about showing sheep and how
Yeah.
affiliated you are with that as an element of growing up on the farm, and your reflection on getting your hands into the soil that
Yeah.
is something that is so barren for a period of time, and then it regenerates, it rebuilds,
Yeah.
rebirth of what is your family's livelihood, still your father's livelihood. You've said
Right.
being in his 80s and still working,
Yeah.
and anticipating to work for the next couple of
Yeah.
decades. It makes me jealous
Yeah.
in a sense of that. And I'm putting my hands out because I can almost feel the dirt,
Yeah.
feeling the rebirth and the respect for the change of seasons and what it brings you, not just you, but
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to gain an appreciation for that.
Yeah. Well, and it is interesting. I mean, because it's so funny. Like, it's not that I'm involved with it, necessarily, but like I'm here always watching it. And I get such a sense of joy when I'm like, yes, okay, it's May 7th and the corn is planted, because it's like, you know, um, there's always, if you're putting, you know, oats in, that needs to be done by the 10th of April. And if you're putting corn in, it needs to be done by the, whatever 10th of May. And so weather becomes one of those things that we really pay attention to, because it's like, how do you get that in? But it is, it truly signifies what we go through in life, because it is about paying attention and being intentional about how you plan things out. But then also, like, there are going to be storms and there are going to be those obstacles, and there are going to be, like my dad just said, he's like, you can't wait on the weather, because then the weather never happens, so you're kind of like waiting on something, but then so you just have to take action. You just have to go and do the best that you can, and maybe you don't get it all done, but then there'll be sunnier days later on. So there's a lot of parallels that I think I make because of those roots of how I've grown up. And some things that I have to, like, undo as well, like I have a hard time resting, because it's like, resting is not, for farmers, like we have to go. So yeah, there's a lot of things. And I think, like I said, that's what has brought me to this point today of just being reflective and appreciative, because it's like, oh yeah. And what was awesome is, it's like he just finished planting the corn, and then I was looking out and I saw this like glowing in the field. Well, the service that comes and puts the fertilizer down, they came like at 9, 10 o'clock last night to do that, because rain was coming this morning. It just poured down this morning. And again, I'm like, yes, like what was supposed to happen happened, like. And I think, like I said, kind of getting back to the program, it's like what was laid out and what was planned happened. And the soil was rich and in a state where the people that went through the program really grew. They learned a lot. They had obstacles that they had storms that they had to, like, kind of manage through with their full-time jobs on top of all this learning that they went through. But I mean, they had a bumper crop of a learning opportunity.
Well, a lot of parallels are coming up for me from what you're
Yeah.
describing. One of them, and this isn't necessarily in order, one of them is that this type of program, a comprehensive 7 month program where people are being taken from the beginning of an experience and beginning of learning and teaming and growing to the end where you really see the growth.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they see the growth in themselves.
Yep.
It's always convenient, or it can be convenient, to say, we'll wait. We'll wait for the weather to be perfect.
Yeah.
We'll wait for our finances to be perfect as a company. We'll wait for our team to be perfect that can help run this internally. We'll wait for our people to be perfect before we offer them a growth opportunity like this, a development opportunity.
Right.
And it, it's really such a gift when we're able to partner with other people. That's
Hmm.
what it is. It's not a company. We're partnering with other people to help drive that growth in a program like this. And
Yeah.
we we I think have each of our own stories of growth within the cohort, and it left us, I know, and I'm in that state still, just beaming with
Yeah.
pride for them.
Yeah. Huge
because
level of gratitude.
and
Yeah.
and what that builds not only for them is that they're a new person.
Yeah.
We've had the benefit ourselves of going through those sort of professional development experiences, and
Yeah.
you are changed, and at that new level that you are at as a person following a program like this, the growth for the organization that that individual will drive as kind of a ray of light for the people that now work with them, the customers that interact with them, the other stakeholders, it's exponential.
Yeah.
And we put our own metrics around it, and we help the company to understand the outcomes and the metrics to help track outcomes. And some of those are the feedback from the participants themselves on our
Right.
various surveys during the program and after the program. Sometimes it's about the retention of those leaders and
Yeah.
their the effectiveness of their business or of their unit going forward, et cetera. There are all different ways that we measure
Yeah.
it and to measure effectiveness. And yet there still is that qualitative data set of you have just kind of the first bumper crop
Yeah.
that starts to grow faster than the rest of the crops, that you look out in 3 months and you go, oh,
Yeah.
those 15 are growing
Yeah.
faster than the others, and the others will come with. That's really the benefit, and it's we do our best to measure it,
Hmm.
and it speaks for itself when they're growing first and higher than the others.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come
And some of
come the
it,
top.
it's like, not to overdo the whole, analogy, but it's like, some just need a little bit of support. Some need a little bit of like, fertilizer, or, some need a little bit of rain or whatever to really all of a sudden make them just like really thrive and sprout, in the organization. So it, yeah, it's just amazing to see that in individuals and to feel the appreciation they have, and then to say, oh my gosh, like the fact that I can recognize how impactful this has been on my confidence level and how I lead myself and how I lead others, and just even in how I show up in situations, and I want to now pay it forward. I then it's the ripple effect, right? It's like I want to mentor others, and I want to lead in a different way, a better way for my group. So it's definitely a program that if organizations do not have something like this for their ready now or future, future executives or high potentials, that they're saying, oh, who's this next group of leaders that's going to carry us or help us to accomplish what it is that we need to for the organization and take us into the future. It's just, I feel, oh, so passionate about it.
It's interesting. We're reflecting on life journey as well,
Hmm.
and we have our respective children that are graduating from high school later this month.
Yeah. You
Uh,
have one, I have two, my middle son and my stepson. So I mean, we're packed with
yes,
another change of season, another change of like, oh my goodness, life events, right?
yes, and my daughter is graduating from high school as well, and so excited for what is next for all the kids that are graduating this year, whether that's from high school or from college. Those are the
Yeah.
primary two big steps, and thinking about those milestones, and then thinking about a program like this, there is a time that the applause ends.
Yeah.
There's a time that the applause ends, and your son and your stepson have been very successful in
Yeah.
their high school careers. They've
Yeah.
had people cheering for them in
Yeah.
athletic
Your daughter
events,
as
professional
well,
events.
right?
Yes,
I mean, just huge accomplishments.
and there does come a time, and I always say it's probably your mid 20s. Sometimes, you still get some applause in your early 30s because you're still experiencing different life events
Yeah.
where you're
Achieving
a-
and yeah.
a- achieving, and it's sort of ripe for people to be clapping,
Yeah.
whether that's a marriage, or it's oh, you
A
did it again,
baby
you got
or
a
yeah.
baby, you got your graduate degree, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
Promotion. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the applause fades, and fades almost like, and fade is probably a little too nice. It just
Yeah.
drops off.
Oh, it's a cliff right now.
Well, in one of
I'm
my
like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Thank God I still have my youngest, who's a freshman, going to be a sophomore. But I'm like, I'm down to one.
Well, it's interesting because you're right. There's kind of that trough where you're not getting applause and you're not yet really applauding anyone else. And then
Yeah,
you kind of pick up where there's more applause, as the kids get
yeah,
into their own activities and their own experiences. And yet for ourselves to receive applause, it's something that stops occurring.
yeah,
And to be able to be a part of a growth experience like our Ready Now succession program,
right,
and to watch the growth of adults
right,
and their passion for becoming their best selves and
yeah,
leading themselves, leading others, leading the circumstances in a way that they're most proud of,
yeah,
is really a fantastic thing for us and for our
yeah,
own journeys as well, because we've chosen this as a team and with the rest of our connected approach team, and
yeah.
that's
Well,
also a wonderful thing to be able to shepherd.
and I think what was so special and just again, I just have such appreciation for is we really really look to work with companies that they're not just companies, they're people. We're in partnership with them, and we're able to come in and just really be as though we're them, and that these individuals are really, I mean, um as though we're almost like responsible for them, or they're learning, and at the end of the program to get such awesome feedback, of how impactful the relationship has been. We've really gotten to know the individuals, and that's what we want. And so, um, it's not just a program. Like I think we bring all of our experiences, our work and life experiences. We're maybe not getting the applause anymore, but we have so much to share and give to where, yeah, I think it was. That's what you're referencing, is that at the end it was a bit of a applause for just the authenticity and the openness and the transparency and just the partnership that we had with this, in this program.
Mm. And immediately the hook that we had with the folks we were partnering with, the folks that we were in this experience with, because it wasn't as if we were running this program and we were
Yeah.
teaching or training down. We were experiencing this together. And by starting with leading self, the immediate
Hmm.
reaction we received from the participants was, I work for a company that cares first and foremost about me leading myself, something
Yeah.
that I'm going to take with me for me, that's about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And once we started there, and of course the other elements
Yeah.
focusing on emotional agility, fitness, and capability, and
Yeah.
then working it all the way through to
Which,
the
oh, by the
values.
way, was the biggest, like, well, we're still waiting to, get final feedback, but like some of the biggest learnings and what they enjoyed the most, right?
Absolutely, and that's a wonderful thing. To your point,
Yeah.
it's really a remarkable nod to our clients, to our client companies, that really value that. I was going to say
Yeah.
take a leap of faith, but they really value leadership of self, and
Yeah.
they value the individual as an individual, not as a cog in
Yeah.
their corporate machine. Oh, okay. What is this
Yeah.
person's name? Joe. Boop, Mary.
Yeah.
Boop, Joe. Mary.
Yeah.
Joe. Mary. Joe, right, whatever.
Yeah.
It is really about the people.
Yeah.
And as they felt that from hour one,
Yeah.
that was the liftoff. That was the launch for just a wonderful experience for all of us. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just what's coming to mind is, we've continued to meet with these individuals as kind of a final wrap up to say, again, take the time to reflect on how impactful this has been and the key learnings from this. And I think it's also something that we have to do for where we're at in life as well. You brought up, we have, graduating seniors, and it is like I feel myself just kind of like, in a whirlwind of like graduation parties and, planning for this, that, and the other. And, to just kind of give ourselves a bit of applause as to raising these amazing kids of ours and being able to kind of go into this next chapter of them going, off to school and, adulting and all of that stuff with grace. So, yeah, it's just been a lot of really awesome stuff to kind of take the time to talk about, take a moment and reflect on. So,
a season of growth and graduation.
yes, yes, exactly. And no other perfect time than now when, the fields are being put in and it's that time of year. So, well,
Well,
thanks, Chris. I'm glad that we
thank
had
you.
the time to share some of this. And yeah, I feel in a more appreciative, like an even more appreciative state.
Me too. As for our listeners, we look forward to talking with you again soon. Until then, lead well, my friends.
And stay true to you. Bye bye.